Just a fetus. I'm Lorelei Siemens and you're watching the abortion debate. It's just a fetus. This is really the main argument. What or who are we killing in an abortion? So what people will say to me a lot is, it's just a fetus. But a fetus what? Look at this picture and you tell me what it is. Okay, you might have said an elephant, but you are wrong. It's a fetus. What about this one? Or this one? Or this super cute one? All of these are clearly different species, but all of these are fetuses. You see, a fetus is not a species all on its own. A fetus is a stage of development. This is my grandma. Now, would you say, that's not a human, that's an elderly? Of course not. But my grandma was once a young adult, and before that she was a teenager, and before that she was a child, and before that she was a baby, and before that she was a fetus. You see, a fetus is a stage of development, just like all the other stages of development that we go through as a human being. The question we have to answer is not, is it a fetus or a human, because it's both. The question we have to answer is it a human life? Imagine that your job is crushing cars. That looks like a pretty cool job. So imagine that's your job, and someone comes to you and says, there might be a human life, alive and well and active inside one of those cars. Maybe. Would you say, well, since you're not 100% sure, I'm going to go ahead and crush the car? I would hope you wouldn't do that. I think that you would check to make sure that there's not a human life. Even if it's just a question about whether or not an abortion is ending a human being that is alive and well, shouldn't we at the very least take the time to answer that question? Because if it is a human being that's alive and well and we're killing it, we're doing that 100,000 times a year just in Canada, 400 million times a year in the world. And every single day, 300 times we're doing that to a baby that is old enough to survive outside the womb. That is murder on a mass scale. So this is a question that has to be answered. So let's look at the definition, human life. All right, human. Hopefully this is the part we can all agree on. If two humans get together, they're going to make another human, right? We can agree on that. Science still says that. If a human is pregnant, most likely it's a human inside. So really the next question is life. So the definition for life. All right, for that definition, let's get out our Webster's dictionary. An organismic state characterized by the capacity growth, reaction to stimuli, and reproduction. A human that is growing, reacting to its surroundings, and will be capable of reproduction is a human life. The question then is, when did this human life begin? Well, people used to believe in something called spontaneous generation, but then the law of biogenetics proved this wrong. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, people used to believe that poof, flies and things like that just came to exist. But then science proved that life creates life. So when exactly does life begin? Well, there's three options. Either before fertilization, at fertilization, or sometime after fertilization. Let's look at before fertilization. Is an egg capable of growing all on its own? Does it react to stimuli? And can it reproduce itself? The answer is no. And it's the same thing with sperm. Sperm is not capable of growing all on its own, not capable of reproducing itself. So life did not begin before fertilization. So let's look at after fertilization. All right, let's look at your life and when your life started. You're here watching this movie. Did you just poof come into existence? No, of course not. You used to be a child, and before that you were a baby, and before that you were a fetus, and before that you were an embryo, and before that you were a zygote. In all of those stages, you were growing, you were reacting to stimuli, and you, left alone, eventually were able to reproduce yourself. That means you were a life. You are a human life. And at no part in any of those stages did you poof into existence. So we know that life cannot begin at any point after fertilization. And that only leaves the third option, life beginning at fertilization. When you were just a tiny zygote, your DNA was present. Your very own specific, one-of-a-kind, different than your mother DNA. The blueprint of who you are. Are you good at sports or a klutz? Are you a math genius? What color are your eyes, your hair? How tall are you? All of this is determined by your DNA. And your DNA did not exist before fertilization. And if it's a human life with its very own specific DNA, then shouldn't we at the very least discuss the ethics of killing it? I'm Lorelei Siemens, and this is the abortion debate. If you want to hear the rest of the videos in this series, go ahead and check them out here on the channel. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of the upcoming ones, hit the subscribe button.